Have you even been able to sleep since winning this national championship?
I have, and I'm good. I'm not tired. Sometimes during the day, if I have to do too much, I get tired, but it's a good kind of tired. It's a good kind of tired.
All season long, you told everybody to be patient. We hadn't arrived yet. Now you've arrived, you've won this national championship. Has it sunk in the magnitude of winning a national championship in just year two?
I think it has. I think it sunk in with about 1:32 to go in the game, and I lost my composure on the sideline. I just scream sometimes, whoever's around. We won the national championship in year two, guys. It has sunk in for me. They're just so hard to come by. And to think that I've done this 4 times and at 2 schools now. It's never been done at LSU in basketball. How could it not sink in? To see the parade, to see the banquet, it's sunk in, and I'm just observing and watching and enjoying every minute of it.
I know every national championship means more. It's different, obviously, being in your home state. Do you think being in your home state, having your children there, being at the point in your career, it means more to you?
All the championships mean the same, but there are little personal touches to each one. The one that means the most to me is when I look across at fans who are experiencing it for the first time ever. When I look in that locker room and see players and coaches, this is the first time ever for them. And we had many of those moments at Baylor. To come back to a state that knows me, I know every nook and cranny of this state, and to do it for the first time ever in the history of basketball at LSU, those are the things that, gosh, they just mean so much to me. I never compare championships. That's like comparing your children. You don't do it. You love them for different reasons, but this is so much fun and rewarding and crazy and anything you can imagine. It's everything, and it's big. It's just big. The parade was huge. The banquet was huge. The student sections at the games were crazy big, but we're the flagship university, so I guess I have to get used to that and expect it.
You've had a Hall of Fame career so far. You're not done yet. But at LSU, they've had decorated coaches with Sue Gunter and Van Chancellor. To be able to get over that milestone and to hang that banner, what does that mean to you?
Well, I was pretty bold when I took the job. I had everybody turn and look at the Final Four banners hanging in the PMAC, and I said, while those are so special, there's something missing, and it was that banner that said National Champions. And I believed we were going to do it, but I could never put a time frame on that. Who could? It's not fair to your players, your coaching staff, to put a time frame on when it could be done. I knew we would improve the program. I believed in my staff. Now, I guess you could say that monkey is off my back. I lived up to it, and when I say I, it's we. It's we. It's Bob Starkey, it's Coach Reese, it's Coach Daphne, it's Coach Jennifer, it's Coach Johnny, it's Coach Joe, it's Coach Jordan, it's Coach Kaylin, it's Coach Shantae. All have a role to play. And talk about an enjoyable staff. Coach Bob Starkey said this to me. He said, Kim, I've been around a long time on the men's side and women's side. He said, it's a joy to come to work. You have a mixture of older staff members, and you have a mixture with the young ones that keep us going. And he said, it's just fun. And he said, and I mean that not just because we won the national championship. I'm back home too. And he said, thank you so much. That's what means a great deal to me.
I know after the Elite Eight, you went and gave him the piece of the net. When he returned the favor after the national championship, what was that moment like?
You know, Bob, he came in here and he just fit like a glove. He observed and he watched me in practice, and I won't ever forget his comment. He said, I now know, Kim, why you're successful. You pay great attention to detail on the court. And he picked up things quickly. And as we got to know each other better, and as I would have him give scouting reports and talk with the team, he said, I don't cut nets down unless it's for the championship. I loved that. But I made sure he had a piece of that Final Four net because he took this program to a Final Four as an interim under very difficult circumstances. I don't know if any other coach in the women's game has done that. Maybe on the men's side, but I don't know on the women's side. As we started heading into the playoffs and the girls have their personalities and cutting up with Coach Bob, you never saw him dance or do the gritty or do the Cupid shuffle. He promised them, you win a championship and I'll dance. That was probably their highlight in the locker room after we all gathered in the locker room, was watching Coach Bob do the gritty. I don't even know if we had it on film, but if we did, it's priceless. So he lived up to his end of the bargain. He cut that net down, he did the gritty, and now he can scratch that box off that he was part of a national championship.
Earlier this season, you were asked about some of your championship teams at Baylor, and you said, you know, some of the teams, I didn't even know if we were a Final Four team. Was there any moment this year that you were like, man, we can do this or we can get there?
I can't tell you the specific game or the specific moment, but I knew we were talented. I knew we had talented basketball players. The hard and scary part for you to project how you think you should do was because we had 9 new pieces. And those 9 new pieces came from all different types of programs. You had the high school kids. Then you had the transfer kids that came from different programs. You knew you were going to have to break each of them down individually and build them back up collectively. I didn't know how long that would take. And then I have to evaluate who needs to be playing together. The most talented 5 don't always start. I don't care about starting. I want you to be in the top 8 or 9. You want to be on that floor and contribute when the game's on the line. That probably started happening into February when we would get into some tougher SEC games and we would pull out wins, and it would be a different player. It wouldn't always be who you would think was going to do that. Flagey, Tennessee game, gets a missed rebound off of Angel's free throw and starts hitting those free throws down the stretch. Alexis Morris struggling scoring in some games, and then bam, she hits the big 3. Angel going getting a rebound. Ladasia, the unsung hero. And make no mistake about it, that championship was won with Samaya Smith, Jasmine Carson, and Last Poa, and it was won in the first half. When they went in, when the 3 starters were sitting next to me, and they did what they did, what a memory, what a moment for them, and it's something none of us will ever forget.
When you came out at half during the national championship game, did you think about starting Jasmine because she was so hot, or was it, I'm just going to go with the starting 5 from the game?
You have to make decisions. Taking Jasmine out of the lineup was nothing that Jasmine did wrong. I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to go with a more bulky defensive presence on the perimeter, and KP was inserted. But that doesn't mean anything. So she gets to go out there when it's tipped off. Jasmine, you're going to keep playing the same number of minutes. It doesn't matter. The Michigan game, nip and tuck till Jasmine comes in and hits the 3 or 4 threes that she hit and helped us separate. Probably did or didn't think about it, I don't know. Not much thought into it, but just keep her involved and make sure she understands we got to have more out of you. This game's not over. She's one that she hung around the locker room after everybody left at half to go back out on the court, and she made eye contact with me, and all she said was, I told you, Coach. I told you. In fact, she has shirts now that she's selling that say, stay ready, stay ready. And when your numbers call, produce. And boy, did she.
Yeah, she was impressive. She hadn't had that type of production aside from the Florida game where she hit 7 threes.
Yeah, she had Florida, and she had Alabama was a good game. The 3-point shot has changed the game, and you have to have a threat out there or they're never going to come out of the paint. And we have great post players that need the 3-point shooter to make shots. And Jasmine's last year of college was the best year she's ever had. And even if we had not won the championship, when you look back on her career, the minutes played, the production, the things that she got to be a part of. And that's what you hope can happen for every senior, but it doesn't all the time. But wow, happy for her.
From your perspective, who do you think the unsung hero is from this team this year?
I think in different games, we had unsung heroes. But if I had to think about the whole makeup of the year, I would probably say Ladasia Williams. When I talked to Ladasia about coming to play here, she was in the portal. The first thing I talked to her about was her body and her health. I said, I don't know you well enough to know, but what I do know is you missed a lot of games. You were in and out of the lineup at Missouri. And I said, I don't know if that's health issues. I don't know what it is. But if you can't stay healthy, take care of your body, do what you're supposed to do off the court, and play every day, I really don't want you to come here. We need somebody that we can depend on. And she was there every day. She never missed a practice. I think she sat out one game, but that was my choosing. She did exactly what I asked her to do when we brought her here. And consequently, she's the 17th pick in the draft. That performance all year allowed her to be rewarded. Again, just another story of do what you're supposed to do and you'll be rewarded.
Angel Reese goes in the transfer portal. She's extremely talented, we all know that, but she's very outspoken and she is very true to herself and she is unapologetically herself, which I feel like you're very similar. Do you see yourself in her in that aspect?
I think she's misunderstood because she is very matter of fact, has her own opinions. We are totally different in a lot of respects, but in the respect that I see a competitor, I see a kid that just wants to win. I would say we're very similar in that respect. Angel is a young lady that has had some mistakes in her past, and I always tell people, your past doesn't define you unless you continue down that path. You will be given second chances when you own your mistakes and you talk about them and you teach life's lessons and you don't blame others. That's when you get second chances. Some players need tough love. There's no mistake what she knew what she was getting when she came to play for me. And I think I was a good fit for Angel. We're so grateful she's here. She has just exploded on the social media scene and on the NIL scene. I think she's overwhelmed some, but Angel wants to be a good leader. And I'm just proud that I had the opportunity to get her in an LSU uniform. And you know, she's got 2 years, if she wants it, left to play in that uniform. But that will be her decision. I know I have her for sure for 1 more year, and we'll see what happens after that.
Talking about second chances, Alexis Morris, the comeback kid. You were a player's coach, but you were very hard on your girls. You always seemed to get the best out of them. When Alexis Morris approached you on getting a second chance, how do you figure out, is this a good fit? Is this what we need to do? Is this the right fit for my program?
Well, first of all, you're inheriting a program that won 9 games, so you're almost open to listening to anyone. You're trying to get talent in here as quickly as you can. The good part was I knew her background. I knew Alexis since she was in the 7th grade. So it was conversations that maybe this kid really has grown up. Why in the world would you want to go back and play for a coach that dismissed you? And when she said, I need you in my life, I need the discipline, I need the direction, and then to hear her talk about, Coach Mulkey didn't almost ruin my career by dismissing me. I did that to myself. That touches your heart because it's the truth. Just tell the truth. And that seems to be a big problem in our society today, is no one wants to tell the truth. They hide behind computers, they tell lies, they create narratives. She's never wavered from her truth. She's a national champion. She was the first pick of the Connecticut Sun, and I'm pulling for Alexis to continue to do great things in the WNBA.
How was that night for you, sharing that night, Monday night with her?
Just happy. I was happy for Ladasia. I couldn't be both places. So half the staff stayed in Baton Rouge and had a little party for Ladasia, and then half of us went to, the draft in New York. Just happy for both, because it's scary when your basketball career is over, and there are no guarantees that you'll ever get to play professional. These two are being rewarded for outstanding careers, outstanding senior year, and go play this game as long as you can play it. And when it's over, you'll have an unbelievable head full of memories.
You brought up your coaching staff. We know that you are a fashion icon when it comes to game day attire, but this coaching staff that you have has kind of taken on that role as well.
Listen, I've always dressed nice. I used to wear dresses and skirts when I was an assistant coach at Louisiana Tech, and then when I got the job at Baylor, I said, this isn't going to fly. I do too much squatting on the sideline. But I've always dressed nice and spent good money on nice clothes. And when I got back here to Louisiana, I guess a lot of people in the fashion industry, for whatever reason, kept up with the fact that I always dress that way. Even during COVID, I didn't go to the warm-up suits. I don't look good in warm-ups, but every day you see what I wear. I don't know if it's a professional thing. I don't know what it is, but I've always done it. Even when I was in grade school, high school, I just wanted to dress nice. And getting here, they wanted me to up it to the feathers and the leather and the sparkles. And, I fought it, and then they would hit me at a different angle. Coach, you're bringing people into the games that have nothing to do and don't know anything about basketball, but will come to watch what you wear. And I'm thinking, I don't really like that, but if it sold one more ticket and it told, one more person about women's basketball, maybe I do need to be a good teammate. Maybe I do need to do this a little bit. And then my staff, they all have their own style, and they dress great. And the guys, my two young ones, Joe and G, they GQing it out there. And hey, we're national champions. I feel like I've got the best staff in the country, and I darn sure have the best dressed staff in the country.
Is there an outfit that you just loved wearing?
No. And nor would I probably pay for some of those jackets. I'm just a more tailored look. I'm more of a tailored look. But yeah, no, there's no favorite one. They just drop them off at the house or give them to assistants and say, hey, coach might want to wear this. And I do.
You were a grandmother. Do you think being a grandmother has kind of softened you up a bit?
I don't know if that has softened me, or if softened is even the word. I think we mature as we get older. And I think we handle things a little bit better because of experience. You learn as you go. If you don't continue to learn, you become stagnant, and this game will pass you by. I have always been a family-first coach. My kids, I never missed hardly any of their sports. I would work my schedule around being able to watch them play. I got help, certainly. Single mother, it's hard to get them to places, but I've never changed how I feel about my family. If there was a decision to be made between my kids, my grandkids, and basketball, that decision was made a long time ago. I always tell people, when I die and they're looking at me in that coffin, I don't want my kids or grandkids to ever say her career was more important to her than being a mom or a grandmother, and they won't ever say that. They come first in all that I do.
When I was in Dallas, we were driving up to the arena, and a lot of the exits said Waco this, Waco that. While you were going to the arena, did you see that, and was it emotional, or was it almost comforting to you?
No, I didn't see the signs. What I can tell you is that when we made it, the whole staff, with the exception of 2 or 3, are either Waco people or were with me for 21 years at Baylor. We all just thought it was karma or ironic. We didn't know what the word was, that we would be going back to Dallas, Texas, an hour and a half from where we spent 21 years of our lives. That is when we talked about it. I said, isn't that crazy? It just so happens the Final Four is right there, and we're going to know tons of people that will come from Waco to watch us play, and they'll be pulling for us. We're going to go back, and I'm going to pay for all of us to get on a plane next week, and we're going to go back and see 3 of them have parents that live there. And we're going to have a little celebration and hug people and love on people because I still have my home there. I still pay taxes there. My grandkids are there. We all feel like that's our second home. Baton Rouge is where we are, and boy, are we into it big time here. But you can't forget those friends and family members and the love that, you know, several of them have Baylor degrees. So yeah, we're going to go back, and it's like a second home. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see those that weren't at the Final Four.
You're 4-0 in the national championship. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
How are y'all always so prepared?
I would love to tell you this is it. I've got the magic answer. We're going to always be prepared. I think I said it to you earlier. Bob says, I pay attention to detail. We're going to cover everything even if we know we're not going to ever see a zone. We're going to cover everything even if we know they're not going to press. We're going to cover it all. You'd never want them to be caught off guard on the floor, because you couldn't live with that as a coach. Say, I didn't go over that. And I don't know. Maybe it's just preparation throughout the year and you treat it as just another game, even though it's not. The media is everywhere and it's all good, but you try to just keep it as, this is what we've done all year. Just go play ball.
Now that you've won this national championship, are you one to be able to really take it in and to relax? Are you back on that grind wanting to go?
Relax. And I've learned how to do that. You have to do it. You have to let losses go. Losses would eat on me, and I said, first few years of my coaching career, I said, I can't do this. I'm going to die an early death. They still eat on me, and I still have my notebook and my pen next to my bed so that I can write notes in the middle of the night when things come in my head. But I've learned to let things like losses leave so I can prepare for the next game. It doesn't eat on me as much. That's a personality trait. And as I said earlier, as a coach, you continue to mature, you continue to grow. And I think in order for me to enjoy it, I need to take me time more often. And I do that in little spurts, a day here, a couple days here, and then in August I always take a family trip to the beach. But I've learned how to delegate better, and that's why my staff is so good. Many have been with me a long time. The first 5 years of my coaching, I did it all because I wasn't comfortable, and I don't know that I trusted that it would get done the way I wanted it done. But when you're with somebody as long as we've been together, you delegate more, and that will keep me in the game a lot longer.
Throughout this NCAA tournament run, the two teams that gave me a little, I don't want to say worried, but there was reservation of, man, how is LSU going to respond to a team like that, was Michigan and it was Iowa. But Bob Starkey said Utah was the team that he thought was the best team. Would you agree with that?
Without question. Utah, just their offense, it's so difficult to defend. We knew they had great post player, but it was the other parts around her that we were going to have to bring Angel out of the paint to go defend there and then ask her to turn around and go do what you do best and rebound the ball. We were going to have to ask Ladasia to guard the Pac-12 Player of the Year who could take you outside as well. And they were bigger than we were. They just were bigger presence than we were on the perimeter. Without a question, Utah was the team that we felt like if we could get by Utah, who knows what we could do. And I even laid it out there trying to motivate our team. You beat Utah, we're going to a Final Four. That's probably not smart, but I just felt like whoever the next opponent was going to be, the high that we were going to have if we could beat Utah could carry over into that next game, and it wasn't who we were playing, it was just about us. And but by far, Utah.